What's up, my friend? Welcome back to another video. And today I just wanted to walk you through the number one mistake that orchestral producers make. This is so common across any sort of orchestral music, and especially when working in a DAW, it's so easy to make this mistake. And I think it just becomes easier over time. Honestly, it just takes practice. But before we answer that question, I want to give you access to my free on-demand workshop called the Complete Composers Framework. This is my step-by-step process from going from your initial idea all the way to the polished final master. I'll give you that clear framework of how to approach this and tips and tricks on how to actually make your music get to that standard, plus my virtual orchestration roadmap that I follow every single time for all of my orchestral mockups to make them sound great. That's always been my goal to help you, and I know this workshop has helped a lot of people as well. So if you want access to that, click the first link down below and you can watch that absolutely free. Okay, so let's get into that question. How do we fix the number one mistake that orchestral producers make? And what is that mistake? The mistake is incorrect and inconsistent volume balancing. Okay, very crucial. Any sort of wrong volume balancing can immediately spark and like a warning sign for the audience. Like they feel like something is off, you know? So what I want to do is play the A section here, or the A prime section of my piece Love's Rapture, go into the B section, and then we'll stop there and I'll ask you a simple question, or maybe it's not so simple. We'll see. But yeah, let's play it a bit and let's have a listen and then we'll reflect on it. All right, let's stop there. So the question I want to ask is, in the A section and the B section that we just heard, which instruments were playing the melody? Okay, maybe let's just have a quick listen to both sections one more time here. That's the A. Let's hear the B. Well, the gut answer would probably be to say that there are strings playing the melody in the A section, and there are woodwinds playing the theme in the B section. And that would be absolutely correct. So how do we know this? Well, obviously we can hear it, but the deeper answer is that that is at the top of the mix, whereas everything else is supporting underneath the mix. And that is very intentional. Because if you have a melody that you want to let play, right? The instruments have to sit at the forefront of your mix. They have to be at the loudest point, whereas everything else feels like it has to support and sit underneath in terms of volume. You don't want them stepping on each other's toes there. So that's why the volume is so important. Now you can go the other extreme as well. If the melody is too loud, this is what it would sound like. Sorry. Right now, the violins really feel like they're sitting way up front, and they're almost like they're sitting right in front of you, and the rest of the ensemble is sitting like further back. So it's all a balance, but the idea is making sure that the melody is sitting correctly, so you know where the priority instruments are. For me, the melody is always king, so the melodic instruments will usually be number one. I want those to sit at the front, like in terms of volume, and then everything else will sit slightly behind it to support it, or maybe at the same volume at the very most to maybe double it or give it a unique texture. Then I'll push it up a little bit closer. So let's just maybe bring in another example. Let's say if we took the basses and brought them way up. Right now they're glitching because I've written volume automation, so it's kind of fighting with that. Let's see, basses right there. So you see that there's some volume automation there. But yeah, volume automation also plays a big role. It's like when you listen to the arrangement, you want to listen for if there are any bumps, like if there are anything that's kind of poking out that's too loud. If there are, you have to turn it down, and that will really help the arrangement flow better. So the whole idea is just making sure that the instruments are balanced enough and nothing really pokes out, and letting the melody stand clearly on its own. Here's another example. Let's bring up the choir really loudly here. Right? Now it sounds like the choir is trying to sing on top of the violins, even though they're singing really quietly, actually. Yeah, overall, you can hear the intensity is not really loud. They're still sounding like they're in front of the strings, and that's not what we want. So it's a really simple concept, right? Like making sure you balance your instruments correctly. And when it comes to the mixing phase, we want to do what's called the static mix. So you take all of your volume faders, you drag them down to the very bottom. So you would take all of these instruments, you would drag them down to the bottom so you can't hear anything. Then you take the most important instrument, bring it up to a healthy level. It doesn't really matter what it is as long as it's not too loud. And then balance every other instrument around that main element, that main instrument, so that it's supporting that main instrument, okay? So in this case, it would be the violins, right? They're playing the main melody in the A section here. So everything else I want to sit slightly behind that, so the violins are being supported in their theme. And then in the B section, I knew that I wanted the woodwinds to be the main theme here. So you can see the flute and the English horn are basically playing in octaves, and the bassoon's playing a counter melody there. So I want everything else to be respecting that. Right? Notice how the strings aren't really stepping on the woodwind's toes. You can still hear them pretty clearly, but they're not louder than the woodwinds, which is really important. So that's the number one mistake. Don't let your volume balances be inconsistent. Think of where your main instruments are, let those stand out, let the other instruments kind of sit behind, and that's like a huge component of your mix, right? Of course, there's stereo stuff, there's mic positioning, which I've talked about in other videos, but in terms of volume balancing, that's really crucial, and you have to make sure that's correct before you get into the other things of mixing, like processing and EQ, because volume can fix so many problems if you just address it from the get-go. All right. So I hope that was useful. Again, if you want to go into my step-by-step process, though, from going from the initial idea to the final product, and you want that step-by-step workflow to follow, I want to give you access to my free workshop, The Complete Composer's Framework. It'll go through step-by-step what you need to know about the whole process. Again, I'll share with you my virtual orchestration roadmap as well, which is my step-by-step mock-up process that I follow every single time I work in the DAW, and it's jam-packed full of value. I really want you to have it. Again, it's free. You have no reason not to watch it if you're curious about orchestration and composing. So if you check the first link down below, you can grab it there as a thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.